Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the only podcast that fired its entire U.S. staff. I'm Matt, aka Matt Fondude, and who are you?
Hi, I'm James. Some people call me Afro4E.
So, James, we've been playing Marvel Rivals since last podcast, which is pretty funny because it
Yes.
was our like, oh look, Marvel Rivals is a thing, and now it's like, okay, well now everyone is addicted to that game.
hmm
Um, Unfortunately, some of the United States team is no longer addicted to the game and they are looking
Yeah.
for new jobs. Maybe Overwatch 2 will hire them.
Yeah, hopefully. I actually did look into that a little bit. So apparently what happened is the game director guy, all like pretty much all the people under him got laid off. He didn't, but he thought that it would be wrong for his entire team to be laid off, for him to like stay there and kind of like abandon them. Um so he basically quit himself and wanted to
And this
like
was the US
yeah.
team though,
Yes.
specifically.
Yes. So the main thing that people are like pointing out is that the guy did have the role of game director. The team was not inconsequential. Like game director is a pretty big role.
Mhm.
Um, even if they have multiple, it's a pretty significant role. And from what I could tell, this team was primarily responsible for the team up system in the game. So I'm not sure if that means that they did all of them or if they like came up with the system or like to what extent it was them, but it's certainly not an insignificant part of the studio.
Yeah, when I read the headline at first, I thought it was a lot more dire because I read the headline of oh fired the basically the whole team and it's like well that
hmm
seems crazy. And
Yeah.
I guess this is not unusual for a Chinese company to fire and replace a lot of the teams. Or I guess I was reading not just the like a Chinese company, other companies fire their foreign divisions often. We don't hear about it
hmm
because they're not as high profile. Still not great, especially
Yeah.
bad optics.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. But very
yeah,
unfortunate situation. Hate to see it every time it happens. Unfortunately, is it is happening very often.
yeah. I didn't know. So there hadn't been pretty much any bad news about Marvel Rivals. It felt like it could kind of do no wrong for a while there, but it seems like that honeymoon has worn off a little bit with this news. However,
hmm
luckily, something came along to distract us, and a new update has come out for the game, adding new characters, so we can focus on that instead.
Indeed. So yeah, I think from what I've seen, new characters are pretty cool. It's the Thing and Human Torch. They had added Invisible Woman and Mister Fantastic at the start of the season. Now we have the full Fantastic Four. And when the season initially came out, there was some, I guess it was both excitement and concern when they announced that they were releasing four characters in the span of like 1.5 months. Um, and yeah, I would say they did pretty good. Like when Invisible Woman and Mister Fantastic came out, they were both pretty interesting. I think Invisible Woman a little bit more than Mister Fantastic. Um, Mister Fantastic was his kit is cool. I think he just kind of needs some quality of life, and I don't really think they've necessarily fixed the issues with subsequent patches for him. Um, and then I think the Thing is probably like at the very least is my favorite one because all he does is he punches stuff with varying levels of strength and he jumps around, and it's the most fun thing I've played in my life.
Yeah, there's some diehards who will play Mr. Fantastic. I think he's still bad, and I think they buffed him in a way, but some people thought it who actually played him feel like it's a nerf, and they don't particularly like it.
Yeah, no, it
But
was one of those buffs where like they made an ability better, but also they like increase his cooldown pretty much. Yeah, but it was just one of those things where people can't agree on whether the degree to which the abilities were buffed justifies cooldown changes. And in some like very niche cases, people consider it worse, the ability itself, because what they did with Mister Fantastic is now his ability that where you would go to a teammate and kind of make himself big right next to them and do like you can either go to a teammate and give them shields, or you can go to an enemy and damage them.
Oh, the
And
Mr.
what they
Fantastic backshot ability.
yes, and what they added to it is that it knocks people back. So in some cases it's very good, but in some cases you also don't want to be like knocking somebody back that you're like fighting,
Hmm.
especially if they're trying to run away.
So they buffed his ultimate ability as well because before it literally did 0 damage, and now it
Yeah.
still kind of doesn't do any damage. But I guess it's better. I don't know.
Uh,
It feels bad.
yeah, it's kind of the same story with the alt where well this time they actually made it do strictly more damage, I believe. It's like if you're close to it, you take more damage, and if you're far away, I think you take the same as before. Let me check really quick. Um,
Y-
okay, if you're far away, you actually take less, but you need to be like very far away. So realistically, it is on average it's doing more damage. Um, but it also takes longer to charge, so it's less frequent, but slightly better damage wise.
So
But people
he
weren't necessarily using it for the damage; they were using it just like stack the slow. So again, still some debate on whether it was a buff or not.
he's such a strange character because he basically is kind of like a weird tank DPS hybrid, which everyone has talked about. But now that the thing exists, the thing is basically a similar kit, but fun and on a tank. Like you can do his the thing's E is you can jump to an ally, give them shield or whatever. And
Yeah,
I find he's so fun to play. He's so simple, and it feels like a very similar kit to what you're doing on Mr. Fantastic, except he is a tank,
yeah,
and it's simplified and just feels better.
yeah. Who would have who would have thunk we take the blatantly tank kit, make it into a DPS? Bit of a miss. We take the tank kit and make it a tank. A hit.
Well, what's really sad about the thing right now is the thing released with the another flying character in the game being the Human Torch, which I didn't realize they were going to keep having characters that could fly. I, I
Mm-hmm.
I I didn't I don't think that is very healthy for the game.
Yeah, I think you know when comparing this game to Overwatch, I think my number one of the big critiques that I've seen a lot is like they just kind of let characters fly. Like in Overwatch, if you're playing like Pharah, you have to like work to stay in the air, and I don't even know if it's necessarily permanent anymore. Ever since they reworked her,
The closest
but
thing could be Echo, and Echo
yeah,
still you fall slowly. You're not just being
yeah,
free movement in the air. You can't
it's
just
falling in
stand like a
style. It's not
helicopter.
actually flying necessarily. At least not the entire time. Like she like glides up and then she falls in style.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, now this game has three characters that just straight up permanently fly, and they have, and let me see, like there's Doctor Strange that can fly on a cooldown. There's Scarlet Witch and Namor can kind of fly, like they can go up into the air and stay there for a little while. Um, who else? I think there's one more.
I mean, Squirrel Girl gets a big jump. That's different.
Yeah, that's a little different though. I mean, there's also just a lot of characters that have like the slow fall thing, and some
Oh,
characters that just have
Moon
like,
Knight has that.
yeah, Moon Knight has it, Hela has it, Magneto.
I forgot Hela has that
Yeah, there's lots of
ability.
people that can just be in the air a lot. And we're actually at the point with the Human Torch being added where there are just as many flying characters as there are hit scans.
Yeah, it feels so. I don't like playing as the flying characters that often, and I
Hmm.
guess they are balanced in a way where if you're cracked at hit scan, they're always going to die because your healers probably won't be able to heal them easy. Like there's like negatives to them, and they have low health, but they're so annoying. And then it becomes the peanut gallery shooting game where you're just staring at the sky and shooting at them the whole game.
Yeah.
And I feel like probably at a higher skill level they're like less useful. Although Storm has a crazy win rate, but Storm's
Oh yeah,
weird right now. Um,
Storm is strong because she has cleaving attacks that are ranged, and her ult is just a god. I could go on for ages about the DPS ult design in this game. It's literally just a point and click. I'm here, you die, unless you use a support ult. Like there's nothing more to it.
On some DPS, some of them are like way
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, like
Like
I
Hawkeye, his
yeah.
strange alt.
And I guess since we're on the topic, we could talk a bit about like the classes and balance stuff. Um, yeah, I think so. Before this patch, there was like a big triple support meta thing going on. That wasn't fun. It was basically goats, and nobody liked
Mm.
goats. It's crazy that that happened like one season in. Um, and this is a little off topic, but Rollock is probably like a good idea at some point because I feel like that stuff like that's going to keep happening.
I would like it just so because sometimes okay, everyone just like, oh no, no roll lock. I want to have my quick queue. Those people play DPS and they want to whatever. Sometimes I want to play a tank. Sometimes I want to play a healer. Sometimes I want to play DPS. And I'm tired of flexing to support like every game basically, or flexing to a tank. I want to
Yeah,
play like sometimes I want to play a DPS and just do that. And sometimes I want to play a different role. And then if you're in the mood to play a certain role and then you don't get it, it's just like especially if you're playing quick play, it's like what is the point? Like it's not if I'm trying to have fun, it's not, I'm
yeah.
not doing anything.
I also guess my little rant about this is like, so people mention the queue times, and here's my thing: if the queue times are such a problem in role queue, maybe we should try to get the devs to make some more fun characters in other roles. We have 18 DPS characters. There's a DPS
Well,
for
support is
literally
fun.
anybody, but like, if a DPS player wants to play like tank or support, there's like not much that they would enjoy.
I do
Like
think the
they just
thing
don't
is a
appeal
step
very
in the right
much.
direction,
Yeah, the
although
thing is
he's
a
like
step
an
in the right
off
direction,
tank
definitely.
kind of,
Yeah, he's definitely a step
but
in the right direction, but like, let's be real, dog. We've got Groot in the game. Like, come on. This dude's abilities are all walls.
yeah. I don't know, it feels even from playing the thing a little bit and having fun, I do feel that stink of playing tank where it's like, oh, this sucks. Like, and that's every game though. That's every game. It's the thankless role for sure. It
I think
feels
it's because
bad.
there's no stats you can flex.
Well, it's not just the stats. It's if you're not. It's. I don't think they're getting as blamed as much as like the supports. But if you're not getting
Oh,
heals and you're not getting your DPS are not killing anyone, and you're just walking out and do it like kind of making space for nothing. It's like you have two different vectors of people that could ruin your day, you know what I mean?
oh, I was gonna say the whole not getting blamed as much thing. Oh my god, I definitely disagree with that one.
Oh, I have
Like
chat turned off, so
when you're playing tank and ranked, it's literally you are expected to be the team's like their condom basically. Anytime they mess something up, it's you're supposed to fix it.
and it's usually just
But
one tank and then god help you if there's a Wolverine if you
yeah,
can't ban Wolverine.
yeah. I mean, thankfully the thing is good against Wolverine, but I'm still banning Wolverine, and then I've not banned Wolverine, or I've not had Wolverine banned 3 games, and 2 of them the thing got banned by the enemy team.
So, why did they buff Iron Fist and give Iron Fist percent damage? So he's like mini Wolverine now.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that Iron Fist was like kind of a noob stomper, like he didn't scale very well into like higher levels, and so I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to take away some of his like support killing power to make him more like his damage against all characters to be a little bit more similar, so he isn't just like a tickle monster when he's doing anything else, but like running at supports, and then if like the supports are
But I
actually
don't think
good, he
they
just kind of dies
did.
doing it.
Yeah, I don't think they fixed it though. They made it worse.
I think now he just does it to tanks.
Yeah, which is worse because we
It's
didn't need
definitely it's
that.
definitely worse, but I think like it makes the character a little less one dimensional. I still don't like it, obviously, but I think the design of the character is kind of ha 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 not very good. But
Yeah,
I could say that about a lot of stuff in this game. I'm not gonna lie. There
I
are
don't-
lots of very questionable things, but there's a lot of things. So it's like you don't always need to engage with them. Um, but anyway, DPS. Uh, yeah, as I was saying before, there's a lot of them. Most of them are like decent to like very good, and I think lots of their alt designs are very strange. Like let me see. I'm gonna pull up a list really quick
Well,
of all the
there's Black
DPS.
Widow, who you might as well not even have an alt, but Black Widow
Yeah,
is
I
a
mean
whole other
they're just gonna
problem of
buff
a
they're gonna
character.
buff that every patch until it's OP. Like it has like a damage amp on it now. So like if people like get tapped by it, you can pretty much one tap them.
It's the
Um
forbidden character. You can't have a one-shot sniper. It'll ruin the game.
yeah, I mean I
Well,
don't know.
besides Hawkeye, I
It's
guess, but
weird.
hit
I
scan
at the
one
very
shot.
least I think it's better design than Widowmaker. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
what they're probably gonna do is they're gonna buff the abilities until they're really stupid and like until the character's undivable. Uh and then yeah,
It,
that'll
it
we'll have a Black Widow meta.
she is kind of becoming like a weird melee character almost, where it's like
Hmm.
you're shooting people, like you're saying the anti-dive. It's like you're not really killing that many people with your gun, but when they dive on you, you can maybe 1v1 them, and you're like, why am I getting like kicked? It's a sniper, but then you don't realize it because no one's playing Black Widow anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Um
yeah, just
but
alts that do big damage in an area.
yeah, like Moon Knight, Namor, Psylocke. Those are the like first three that I can think of right off the bat. Psylocke ult is just the dumbest thing ever, like design wise. Literally what it is. So it's imagine Genji ult, but you're invulnerable, and it's like a big AOE and it hits a random person in the AOE. And so what you need to do is your team basically needs to like 6-man group up in it so nobody dies. But then you're 6-man grouped up. You're like very vulnerable to like any other ult. So like you just have to support ult. There's like no other answer. And if the support ults aren't as strong as they are right now, then it would just kill anyway. Um, then like Moon Knight and Namor ults, they're basically just AOE one shots that don't care about shields very much if people are like super grouped and you get them like on the center. Star Lord, his ultimate is literally it's soldier ult with Tracer's kit plus you fly.
Yeah,
Like my lord, if you put this in Overwatch, it would get deleted on like the second day. There's
I
no
pretty
way
much
that could exist.
I feel like I die first every time to that ult too, because I'm somehow in the air or like I'm always dead. And there has been times where you can shut him down, like if you just shoot him. But what ends up happening, I find, is you'll shoot him, he'll get down to like no HP, and then it gets just full healed. And then you're like, all right, well,
I also think the
we're
problem is that
team is wiped.
he has iframe dashes too, so it's like you can't even really focus him that well.
Well, it kind of goes back to the shooting gallery. It's like half of the time I'm looking in the air trying to shoot down people, and the more characters that are like that, the less character. It's like, oh well, I guess I'll go Hella and then just play aim trainer all day, Or
Yeah.
I guess you would. I guess the real solution is go like Punisher or something, but I don't really like him. So I'll play Hella, who isn't really a hit scan, but you can kill flyers
Hell is hit
sometimes.
scan.
Is she though? Is she like
Yeah,
full
she
hit
is.
scan?
It's
It
literally hit scan. The
it
animation doesn't look like it,
feels
but
weird.
she is.
Yeah,
It's
it looks
animated
like a
weird.
projectile.
Yeah. Um but yeah, then Storm ult is dumb. You literally you're just in Minecraft creative mode.
Yeah,
Like why?
she
I
can get
understand for
killed
like
out
the
of
sake
it,
of the
I
fantasy.
guess.
She can if you're like 6-man focusing it, but if she just does it on like your backline and they don't support ult, then
Hmm.
they're just never gonna
Well,
live.
the amount of people who don't move out of the way when they hear Storm ulting too is insane. Where it's just like you hear the ult and people just don't. They're like, oh, I guess let's group up, and they don't run away. I don't know. I feel like it's. I mean, sometimes you get caught in it and you're just screwed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times people just don't know what it is. I don't know. It's weird. And
Yeah.
now it has the Firestorm combo, which people are like going crazy about, but I don't really know how. I don't think it's
Well,
probably that good because you need to have two flyers on your team.
yeah, I also think people don't actually know what it does. It doesn't actually increase the damage of the storm ult. It's
Just
just every
length.
time you go through like a yeah, every time you go through one of the Johnny Storm like tornadoes, it just it just increases the duration by like 2 seconds. I
And
think it
it's
maxes out at 10 seconds.
and it's like, well, you wouldn't want to balance like you probably wouldn't want to have a team that's two flying people. Although
Yeah.
if your DPS doesn't switch to counter that, then you're just I've been in
I
games
mean,
where you just get cooked because no one's
I don't
no
know.
one's shooting them.
It's weird because like you would think you don't want two flyers, but also consider like these. I don't necessarily think flying is essential to these characters' kits. Like they can play near the ground just fine. Like Storm can just like cleave people in like brawls and shit. and she
Hmm.
has like auras for a team, and Human Torch, he can basically just do area denial with his like walls and stuff. Given, I don't think Human Torch is like that good in practice, but like just off of the design, he does not. I don't think anything dictates that he absolutely needs to be like high in the air or something all the time.
Well, I do. I'm thinking more of. I've been in games where it's like you have a Squirrel Girl and Magic, and they have two flyers, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. Like, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
Which is tough. Do you think? And I bet they will do this. Flying tank slash flying healer.
Oh, most definitely flying. I mean,
Uh,
they have a flying healer a flying healer already got leaked and was like supposedly going to come out in season 1. That's
What is that
100%
gonna be
happening.
like?
Flying tank, I think that's probably the last one that they'll do, but I can definitely see it. Like people think they're gonna make Captain Marvel a tank,
Hmm.
and if they do that, then like you'd definitely be able to fly. I might not be permanent, but
I do think we're one character drop away from like cataclysm of the game, but that's every
yeah, I
hero
mean,
shooter where like they'll drop
I
something
mean,
so bad that it just makes the game horrible for a while.
I don't know, because like I think my thing is people talk about the whole like everything is OP, so nothing is like game design. I think that's first of all, I don't necessarily think it's sustainable unless you have like an absurd amount of characters and you're like very good at it, like how Dota does it.
Hmm.
And even that, I don't even necessarily think Dota is as extreme in that category as people think. It's just that I think, especially in MOBAs, people are very used to things being like basically having their legs chopped off. Like it's like, oh, your character can do this, but only sometimes, and only if they don't have this character, and only if they don't have this item, and only on Tuesdays.
Well, it seems like they're kind of doing that with the seasonal buffs where all
Yeah,
right, well, we'll tune this down, we'll tune this down. They could change like isn't one of the buffs it was like Hulk had like 200 extra HP or something as like their
yeah,
seasonal buff and they could just be like, "Nah, we're just changing it. Just getting rid of that."
yeah. But I think those are too like on the nose. Like it's just like this character is better just because they have stats. It's just like that's just kind of boring.
Mhm.
Like Magic, she's probably the most seasonal buff reliant character in the entire game. Where her seasonal buff gives her a one shot combo, and once they remove that, the character is gonna be worthless.
Mm. Yeah,
It's like
it's
I
yeah.
don't know. Like I just feel like they're never gonna balance the character like that.
I don't know
Um,
what the I don't like Overwatch really changed when they added like Ana or Anna, whatever that character who just fundamentally changed the entire game with the anti-heal and all that stuff.
I mean,
And I
they're
feel
probably
like
never gonna add anti heal to this game.
well, not
I would be very
anti-heal,
surprised.
but we're living in a world where we don't have the character that broke the game yet, you know? We don't
Uh,
have the crazy character.
are we? I feel like we launched with the crazy characters. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, no, we have crazy, but there's not like oh, I guess there was like
Like
Hawkeye and Hela for a bit, and then they
I think
got
if you added
adjusted.
anything like Wolverine to
Well,
Overwatch, it
oh,
would make the game unplayable.
you're right. Wolverine is a problem right now, but
Yeah,
I guess hero bans really helps a lot. I wasn't even thinking about that because I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna get banned. But
yeah, but it's weird because like yes, bans help, but you gotta think about it. Like Wolverine's a problem, Star Lord, Storm's a problem, Luna Snow's a
mhm.
problem, Namor's kind of a problem, but also if you ban him, then like divers become a problem. Moon Knight Groot is a problem. Um, what else? Last season Hulk team ups were a problem, or before mid season Hulk team ups were a
And now they
problem.
change it so Iron Man just is better, I guess, instead of the
Um, and like what else? Hela's a problem. At some levels, Hawkeye's a problem. Loki's a problem. Like we have 4 bands and we've got like at least eight characters that you don't want to play in the game with at like the same time.
I do
Then
think
also there's like
Wolverine
the whole
though.
DPS ult thing where some of them are just stupid.
Well, Wolverine just removes the Vanguard role is the problem. Like
Yeah,
just fully invalidates that whole role. So that is a big problem.
yeah. But I don't know because it's like at this point it's like okay what are the 4 biggest problems? We'll like play and be miserable with the other ones, but like we got to get rid of like the big 4,
Mhm.
and then like one person disagrees and then it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know. It I'm not I mean, I'm not at the level right now where it even really matters that much like if I'm playing comp. It's just more if I'm playing quick player comp, like lower comp matches, just the amount of fun per thing ratio right now. Which also I would like to point out, I don't like how you're able to play the new characters in comp right away. I wish there was at
Eh,
least one mode you could play without the new characters, because every match is going to be people playing the new characters. You know,
I don't know. I think it's fine. Because like
it
the reality is, no matter what, the characters are going to play different in comp than they would in quick play because like people have vastly different intentions in quick play.
that's true, but at the same time, it's like, and this is just a problem with these kind of games. Like a new character will come out, and then the game will be unplayable for like a week and a half because everyone's just trying to play the new character, and then you're not really getting matches in. I mean, at your level in competitive, it's different because people are actually playing, and they're probably on Smurfs if they're playing the new character or something. But if you're on like the
Yeah,
lower
sometimes.
levels, it's like it's unplayable to do that until you get higher.
Uh, I don't know. It's I think my thing is at lower levels, for the most part, I would say people aren't good enough at like most things for the difference between their like a character they quote unquote know and the new character to be so significant that it's like losing the game on its own. Like sometimes the people just suck.
Well, it's not
Like
even
like
about
if your
losing.
teammate is going like 0-14 on thing, like yeah, it sucks, but they could also just gone 0-14 on something else. Like maybe they're just a
It's
bad player.
it's not about like losing. It's about just every match having the Thing and Human Torch in it. You know what I mean? And then you don't get that variety of matches. Maybe I'm just salty because I ended up playing Squirrel Girl a lot, and then I have to switch to Hela to like shoot the flyers every game. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just hero shooters in a nutshell.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
I've been playing a lot of Bucky too. Bucky's really fun.
Hmm.
I think everyone's been playing him recently. They
Yeah,
just discovered that he's super fun. Doesn't get banned as much as
it's
other
also
characters.
just he's also insanely strong, and I think
He could
he's
just
one of
do
those characters that
everything.
you like can't ban because there's just not enough. But he is another make the tanks miserable character for sure.
Well, he's a kid that just does everything, and his alt can be crazy if you're getting good alts.
Yeah, yeah. And we've talked about pretty much everything for DPS. I mean, like there is some like it's not like a dive meta right now, but people are like playing dive more because some of the dive characters got buffed. Um, it can be annoying sometimes because you like sometimes you just have somebody that's basically just smurfing on Spider Man, and there's just like especially as a tank, you're just kind of sitting there like there's not really much I can like do about that.
Mm.
It's just kind of like people are just kind of like getting skill checked. Um, but yeah, I mean overall, I think like lots of the DPS ults need work. I think that it's like kind of the root cause of lots of the issues in this game right now. But they probably I would not imagine they do a lot about it because it's a big part of their power fantasy. So we
Well,
will see.
there's a big problem with the support alts too that are just all big AOE, big heal.
Yes, but I think the issue is that like if these DPS ults existed and we didn't have those, then the game would just be like utterly agonizing. Like
Oh no,
you would just
exactly.
get
But it
wiped
goes
by every
both
single Salak
ways.
ult. So it goes both ways, but I think the reason the support ults have to be like that is because of the DPS ults, right? Like some support ults could maintain their fantasy without being that strong. Like Mantis and Invisible Woman ult could easily be like still have their current fantasy without needing absurd healing.
I do think them adding more to the cooldown has been helping, because I think that is a large part of the problem, where it almost feels like
Yeah,
every team fight there's just two support alts up,
yeah,
and
I
it's
think that's
just like,
definitely
oh, I'm
helped.
about to win. Oh nope, full healed.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't.
The
Mhm.
energy changes for support ults have definitely been a big help. There's a lot less triple support comps just stalling forever. Games have just generally been more enjoyable. Things die more.
I
I
didn't.
still think the base kit, like the base sustain of the supports, is still ridiculous. But it's another one of those things where if they change it, they would break the game. If
Yeah.
the supports didn't heal, like statistically, the supports in this game heal like twice as much as Overwatch supports, both like
So
overall and heals per second, if not more.
you know what's crazy? I didn't realize that how bad Jeff was as a character, even though he's not. But it feels like if you have a Jeff on your team and he's like one or two supports or whatever, you're basically going to lose because
Yeah.
you're just not getting that healing. And he can heal, but I guess the point of Jeff is to go around and kill people, whatever. But even if you are healing as him, he just does not have as much healing as healbot characters that just really like. And his ult is cool, I guess, but situational. And it's not a. Would you rather have your Jeff maybe kill the whole team or kill a couple people or be invincible for 12 seconds? It's like
Yeah.
it's a no brainer.
Yeah.
And it does feel like sometimes if you have a Jeff on your team and you're just kind of not gonna win, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But I think,
that's a little shitty.
yeah. But yeah, supports are still. I still, as I said before, I still have problems with their like base kit sustain. Like if we're talking numbers, the average Overwatch support heals like 50 to 60 health per second, and this is like average. There are supports that go way below that.
Mhm.
Uh, and the average Marvel Rival support is like 100 or something. Like Luna Snow heals 120 per second. Loki heals like, let me find Loki on the website. Loki's clone dependent, but each one of his shots heals for 40, and he can fire 2 shots a second, and he can have up to 3 clones, I believe. Maybe it's only two,
I
two,
feel
two
like
or
it's
three
more.
clones.
I don't. I feel like I see them a billion of them everywhere all the time.
And there's, so let's see,
And then he
I'm reading his
does his
abilities really quick.
healing rune that you can shoot. I think a lot of people
I
don't know you can shoot things in this game, like the rune and
Yeah,
Squirrel Girl's ult and stuff.
yep. So yeah, you can have up to 3 clones if he uses his like invisibility thing. Um, so yeah, we're looking at each clone is healing 80 per second, and then there's the original Loki. So that's like 320 per second potentially, which is absurd. Um, Mantis is like the only reasonable one, I think, and that's just because he has like basically one time 55 health heal, and then it's just 20 per second. Rocket is basically Rocket heals as much per second as Anna, but in an AOE, and Anna is meant to be like the fastest healer in Overwatch, pretty much, or one of the fastest. Where are the other supports? I really wish the website would let you organize this stuff by rules. Um, Adam is almost reasonable, but when his like E starts bouncing, it heals like over 200 per target. But it's his only heal, so that's like okay. I'm not too concerned about that.
Yeah, he's busy
Uh,
being a machine gun, just
yeah,
blasting
Cloak and
people.
Dagger. I really like the design of the cloak form. I think its abilities are really cool, but the dagger form is just 3 healing abilities and heal amp. Like what? This is very silly. It would take way too long to crunch the numbers because there's all these like amps and AOE heals. It's probably just as much as Luna, if not more. So yeah. Then Invisible Woman is like 80 per second or something like that, and then she has like a shield that heals 50 per second.
Hmm.
But yeah, lots and lots of healing in this game. Very high numbers, and if they ever nerfed it, then the tanks should be unplayable.
Yeah, it's a balancing act.
Because yeah, because they both don't give tanks self sustain. They don't give them armor like in Overwatch, and also relative to Overwatch, the health of like shields and stuff like that is very low. Like the biggest shield in the game is 800 HP, whereas in Overwatch it's 2K.
Hmm.
And generally, characters do more damage in this game than Overwatch.
And there isn't really like Reinhardt shield type shielding though in this game, which is I'm bringing that up because the thing's alt now is basically like a shatter kind of thing where it like tremors through everybody, but there
Hmm.
isn't really that much like you can't really block it that much. I mean, you
Yeah, it
have
goes it
Magneto
goes through
shield.
shields. It goes through
Oh, it
shields.
goes. It even goes
Yeah.
through that. All right, so yeah, you're just kind of cooked.
The only thing that'll prevent it, so there are two things technically. There's Magneto Bubble, which the target who's bubbled doesn't get hit, but everybody around them does.
Hmm.
Same with Hulk Bubble, I believe. And then technically, if you're on Strange, if you jump up and look down, you can block it for yourself, but not your teammates.
Huh.
Because technically, the hitbox like rises from the ground under you.
It's kind of nice that like that was always something kind of annoying in Overwatch, where if you were playing the character You never ever could land anything like that because people would just block it. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was like in Overwatch that was like the a big part of the skill expression, but also in this game, I think if you could block the thing ult, it'd be pretty bad.
yeah, it would be. I
It'd
mean,
just be
I've
way
been
too. It'd be way
stunned.
too easy.
I got like Luna stunned multiple times while trying to press Q, and it just stops it, which already feels horrible. But
Yeah,
if it was easier to stop, it would be worse.
yeah. But I mean, for tanks, I guess since we've gone over DPS and healers, I guess I kind of alluded to it already, but they're very bullet spongy, and they also like they just always have buttons to press. It's kind of odd because the buttons don't necessarily all do a lot, especially on characters like Captain America or who else is like a prime
Thor,
example?
Thor has buttons. He's got
Yeah,
meters.
Thor is just you're just always pressing stuff. It's just
I
things
just
are just kind of
play
happening.
Venom and Thing right
Magneto,
now.
except for his like, and Magneto is just kind of in general is like that with his right click.
Yeah,
It's
give
like
me
you always
less
have
buttons
it.
to press.
You just kind of throw it out, and it's like if you compare it to Sigma, right? If you hit Sigma's rock, that's kill potential, like
Well,
pretty
they
consistently.
changed it at one point.
Yeah, they
It
changed it at
used
one
to be
point
a
and it was
combo.
shit. Yeah, that was really dumb. I think even if it's not like a guaranteed kill, right? It's like somebody's stunned in front of your whole team and you can nearly kill them on your own. And like given the mechanism of his gun and the fact that he doesn't reload, it's still more kill potential than Magneto has like on average.
hmm
They did slightly change Magneto where he does actually have a kill combo now, but it's like you have to direct hit with your left click, then right click somebody, then direct hit with your left click again, and that's only on 250 HP targets.
hmm
So it's like it's definitely better, but also like the actual act of hitting somebody with the right click just isn't very satisfying. But you almost constantly have it, and it's also the big reward for like having a bubble that people actually shoot. Like when you compare it to Zarya getting her like damage charge from people shooting her bubbles, it's not nearly as fun. Also, I really don't like that you don't get the rings for your right click until the bubble's destroyed or until it
Hmm.
ends. So like if somebody starts shooting it, you don't instantly get the charge. So it's like it's just kind of awkward. Like you can't really tell how much charge you're about to get.
I'm a
Um,
simple man. I play Venom. I press E. I press Shift.
yeah,
That's that's about as much brain power as I want to expand
yeah.
on playing tank. And
Venom
the
is
thing,
yeah.
the
It's just
thing is
Winston. Venom is just
hilarious.
Winston if you like. Venom is Winston if you removed the like thought.
The thing is even funnier where he has even less buttons, and he's just is like left click, right click, one button. It's so good. It's just no
Yeah,
buttons,
yeah. I think
nothing.
the thing is probably like their best designed tank, but even then he's not like perfect. Like his right click just has no cooldown. It's just a spam
Yeah,
like
it's just dumb.
hold it down, AoE punch. Yeah.
Feels good
Uh
though. It feels good to punch
yeah,
a
it
support in the
does feel good
face.
though. The sound on it is like amazing. I love the sound design for his
Yeah,
punch.
you thwack people.
Yeah, and also like the bell.
Oh yeah.
It makes me feel like a boxer. Yeah, I don't know. I think his E is just like it's like the thing where you jump to people and you give them damage reduction. It's pretty much always up. It's just
Yeah, it's good
free
escape
value. Yeah, just use it. I do think his
or
Yancey Street
jump in.
charge is
Yeah.
like the coolest tank ability in the entire game, even though it's almost exactly a copy paste of Maga's charge from
hmm
Overwatch. I do like that it has like the anti mobility zone that you leave behind. So it's like that gives it a little bit more flexibility in how you use it, where you can just insta cancel it and like basically ground somebody.
hmm
Um, and also the charge lasts really long, so you can kind of like just charge around and like knock people up, and like also use it to get out at the same time without even canceling it.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's a cool character. He's
but
fun.
yeah,
It's a tank that people might want to play after the launch window.
yeah. I think if the thing is any sign of what they're designing for future tanks, I would be pretty happy. Um, it's within their style of tanks, which is just as I said before, they always have a button to press. It's not necessarily like super high impact, but it's just always a button to press. I think things cooldowns are relatively high impact though compared to other tanks, so I think that's good. You actually feel like you're doing something pretty regularly. And, you know he actually has damage, so like if you mess up, he can kill you, which you can not say for a lot of other tanks, and which you can say too much for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Um, God, I hate Doctor Strange's design so much. By the way, this guy has one, two, three, four, five abilities, including his ult, and all of it boils down to left click melee, left click shield, press E when you have enough charge.
Yeah,
That's
just
it.
big burst.
Literally everything around his kit is designed to enable that. Like his ult doesn't even feel like a like when you compare his ult to Ryan's Earth Shatter, it's effectively the same thing, but it doesn't feel like the same thing because all you're trying to do when you ult is like you ult and then it's like, okay, I need to build up my dark magic to just press my E and blow up people. It's like the same gameplay loop as when you don't have ult, is just better. And like the only reason he flies is so that he can hit people more with his left click and his melee to build more charge for his E, so he can do more damage.
It's also to fly up and block Hella ult with the shield and
Yeah,
ruin my day,
yeah,
or just fly over and block. It also does feel like sometimes he'll have 1 HP, have his shield up. I'll be behind him shooting at him, and I'm still just like hitting a shield, or he'll
hmm
like turn around for like a split second and like block. He'll die
yeah,
usually in those scenarios, but it's like it feels like it takes a lot longer to kill him, and that shield. I don't think I've ever really seen his shield break. It just kind of exists forever because you
yeah.
can
And
put it
it's because
away.
people like you can like manage your health and shield and like balance them a lot better than with other shield tanks, mainly because he does so much damage and he's also ranged. Like he beats anybody in brawling up close because of how strong his E is with the burst damage, and he also can like he just strictly takes less damage than other tanks. But he also has like decent range with his left clicks. It's almost like they gave Sigma a like up close AoE burst attack
Yeah, he's like a
just in his base kit.
shotgun magic blast.
Yeah. So literally if they gave Sigma a shotgun that fires in 360 degrees.
So weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, hey, at least there's a good tank. You know, like a
Yeah.
strong tank.
I mean, he's like the most played tank by far. Like if you look at the numbers, it's actually ludicrous. Like the third most played tank is Groot. He has picked 4 times as much as Groot.
I mean, I think Magneto has the best like utility of the tanks because he actually can kill through support ults and stuff.
Yeah, I
But
think
he's
the Magneto
boring.
ult is pretty cool. It's just like the rest. That's like the only time you get to have fun.
He's dry toast. Like no one wants to be him because he's so boring. But
I
he's
think my
good.
thing with Magneto is like his whole kit is just like denying people doing stuff. It's not really like as much doing stuff yourself.
Yeah, it's like
Like
reacting. You
even the
save your ult
ult,
to react.
yeah, like even the ult, it's like you do it when they support ult usually. You can technically use it for other things, and it's like it's a really good ult. You can like pop it almost whenever, and it'll like do something. Um, but like for the most part, you're saving it to respond to another ult, and then you only really throw it when people have tried to do something to you, i.e., shooting at you. It's like you don't really make things happen like for yourself very much, and you just kind of like sit there and you spam left clicks, and like everything you do is in service of continuing to spam left clicks and right clicking every once in a while. Um, what else? Oh, Penny's just an abomination. This is just a very very odd character.
It's just a
Like,
noob stomp character.
yeah, it's just a noob stomp like mine character. I People have like refuted my statements on this. I think why does she have a 3-second cooldown mobility thing? And why does she have a 3-second cooldown stun? But she's also like the mine trap character. Like why does she need to move around this much when she's the trap character? It doesn't make sense. The design doesn't feel like very cohesive. It
I
feels like they came up with the traps and they remembered that this is like a Spider-Man character and that they needed to fill out the buttons.
well, I
So they
think
like gave
every
her the wall
Spider-Man
crawl and all that stuff.
character, every Spider-Man character needs to have a web thing. Every
Yeah, they
like
need to have
based character
they
just
need
to
to have the
keep them
web swing
consistent.
and they need to have the wall crawl. And
So
it's
they're
like
just
that's
gonna do that
fine,
for all
but
of them.
you also could have just not designed this as a trap character because these trap it just feels random. Like you place your trap and then you don't really want to move, especially because your mines you can have more than 4 mines down, but you only get 4 mine charges, and you can kill a tank with like 8 mines. So like directly get rewarded for like sitting on the same setup and continuing to set up mines. But you also have this 3-second cooldown mobility, and you have a wall climb. It's like what are we doing here?
It is a weird character, and it doesn't really feel like a tank because she's not really tanking anything. she'll press Q and run at your team, and then usually just die
Yeah, the ult is
because
pretty bad.
I don't. So she drops mines behind her, I guess, right, and puts
Yeah,
webs.
I
But like,
think I think what they intended is like, oh, people are about to push into me. I'm gonna ult and make more mines and make webs everywhere and like extend my spider nest and make spider drones and like just do all my things. I don't think it's like a run into the enemy team type deal, but that's also like
how
the idea of
everyone uses the ult, it just runs into the enemy team and then dies.
yeah, and I also think the idea of like using it like I said, where it's like people are about to push and I'm gonna set up more stuff is just kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's almost a
But
defensive ult.
yeah, it's very awkward to use it, especially since I'm pretty sure the webs and mines disappear when the ult ends,
I believe something like
and
that,
the
or
ult
like,
lasts 12 seconds. So like you basically got this 12-second window to say like to like make people come into you if you're using it like that, and it's like, well, if you're ulting and you're running around, why would anybody ever walk into your mines
no,
willingly?
exactly. Walk
It's
into
like
them,
you
or
ult, they wait 10 seconds, and then it's just like, okay, now what?
they just walk backwards and then shoot her. Um, it's
Yeah, like
yeah,
I don't know. Like
I
I
don't
guess it's
know.
like okay if you're getting dove, but also like most dive characters see this big ass penny running at them and they just leave.
I'm afraid whenever I fight a player who is playing like Groot or I don't know a more boring in my mind tank or like someone who is whatever or like Thor or something who's good.
Hmm.
Uh, it's scary if there's like a good tank. It just never happens, but
Yeah.
it is scary. Sometimes we'll have a Groot on our team, and I'm scared because then I'll be blocked off mid trying to do something or like
Oh yeah,
escaping,
the
and I'll get
classic.
blocked.
I've had my friendly Groot wall my thing ult, and is like the most tilting thing ever. It's between that and the enemy Groot like just happening to wall at the same
Oh
time
my
that I press
god.
ult. And I know they could not have they did not predict it. I know for a fact they did not predict it. It's just they felt like placing a wall there at the exact same time.
I think the thing is so big too. I was playing a game against a Luna Snow, and just every time the freeze was off cooldown, I was just frozen, just sitting
Oh
there for
yeah.
like 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's I do like that he has full CC immunity on his shift, so like you can kind of use it to dodge that. But
Mhm.
man, yeah, getting CC'd by Luna is never fun. Also, speaking of thing being big, on the Wakanda like hybrid map, I found out sometimes you just can't fit places. Like the second point after you capture the control point and you're going
Mhm.
uphill. You know how there's those like two pillars on the right and the left?
Sure, I
They're like
can't
two like little
visualize it.
statues. I think like you know the hill you have to go up to after you capture first point, right, on that Wakanda map.
Yeah, I guess so. I can't really.
Yeah,
All
like
the
it's
maps
it.
blend in my
You have
mind
to
as
like
one
push like the
thing.
Black Panther statue, like it's like a payload.
Hmm.
You have to push it up the hill. But yeah, like I'm trying to go around these like these like pillars, and you can't fit. He's actually too fat. It's
That
insane.
that's bizarre.
Yeah, no,
I
I
mean,
think I think I only had that happen
wait
on
till
the
the
first
blob, dude.
day. What?
Wait till they add the blob, dude.
True.
The
Yeah, I
even
think that
bigger
only happened
boy.
to me on the first day. I tried it again like today, and I think it was fine. They might have hot fixed it, but it was very funny.
I feel like they need
Um,
to add more villains to the game.
yeah, we do need more villains.
I want to play as more baddies, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, what other tanks? I mean, there's Thor. Thor's weird. Like he's
Too
just
many
like
things. I don't like meters. It
he's
scares me
yes.
away.
I mean, there's a couple things. First of all, he's just a DPS with a big health bar. Like let's be real.
Yeah, with an alt that's kind
Um,
of bad.
yeah, the alt's kind of weird. He, I think Thor Force is like cool concept, but everything having shared cooldowns kind of makes it stupid.
Hmm.
Like
Every
like
character that I see has who has like bars. I'm like, I'm not playing this character.
yeah. So it's like weird because it's like I can't like shift into somebody and instantly right click for a burst combo. That's like the coolest thing that you could possibly do with Thor Force, and you just can't do it because of the shared cooldown. And and so I'm like, okay, well, if there's a shared cooldown, why does Thor Force exist? Because whenever you use the shift or the right click or any or the F, right after, if you hit a melee, you get the charge back anyway for Thor Force. So the cost is effectively zero. And you're just sitting here with the shared cooldown. And then I thought, the only thing that like doesn't isn't net zero cost is Awakening Rune, his like transformation thing. So I'm like, oh, that's why Thor Force exists. Um, so you can't like spam awakening. But you know what else would stop you from spamming stuff? A cooldown. So maybe we don't do shared cooldowns and we just give Awakening Rune like an actual cooldown instead of giving it a 2-second cooldown and like limiting you by your Thor Force for whatever reason. It's very strange.
There's only 9 tanks with the thing now. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Like I
looking through, I'm
think
like, oh yeah, what other tanks? It's like, oh yeah, none. There really
yeah.
aren't, and I don't even consider
I mean,
Penny on the list.
yeah, I mean like listen, my healer players, you're appreciated, but let's be honest for a second. How different are these characters? Do you need as many healers as tanks? I don't
Hey,
think you do.
Invisible Girl is fun, actually, like
Yeah.
fun. I mean, you are right though.
Like,
Even
are you telling me
visually,
you're going to
Cloak and
sit down
Dagger
and
and
say,
Invisible Girl.
are you going to sit down and tell me that we need Luna Snow and Mantis Ult? That these aren't like very similar ultimates functionally?
It is bizarre, yeah. I think people don't really play Mantis anymore. It's just Luna Snow, Invisible Woman,
Yeah.
just over and over again, which
Yeah,
is
it's like
fair.
Luna Snow, Invisible Woman, Loki.
I
I think
mean,
it's really funny how Loki, it's like, oh, it's this character. You can copy anything, and every game he's just copying the other
support
support
ult.
ult.
You
Yeah, it's like,
should copy
yeah,
support ult.
it's what people do. It's what they should do. There's just it's not enough reason to do anything else.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing. It's just how the game is, you know. There.
Yeah.
All things considered, they're not doing a bad job. It's still fun.
Yeah.
It's still fun to play, you know. That's at the end of the day is all you can do. As the more it goes on, the more people will be used to it. The more complaints, you know. There's nothing you could ever really do. There's no such thing as perfect balance.
Yeah, of
But
course.
as long as they have enough
Um,
money and they keep changing things from season to season and keep adding stuff, then I think we're good.
yeah. And I guess on the perfect balance thing, I do definitely agree. They're never gonna like no game's ever gonna be perfectly balanced. I do think though, so I'm not. I usually say like stats like win rate and stuff don't matter that much, but I do think that in like casual modes, pick rate does matter. And
Mhm.
when you have characters that are like sub 5% pick rate in casual modes, I would assume that like sets alarms off for devs where it's like, okay, we kind of got to do something about this because people just aren't playing it.
Cough, Black Widow, cough.
Yeah,
Black,
like it's like we create these characters for people to have fun with them, and people aren't having fun with them because they aren't playing it, and potentially people who are playing it and they're realizing they're not having fun, so then they stop playing it.
Well, the thing is, I played Ash and I played characters like that sometimes in Overwatch.
Hmm.
And the fun is you do the headshot and you get the kill. And when you're playing a sniper and you can't do the headshot and get the kill, then it's boring.
Yeah,
But don't do that because Widow
honestly,
is horrible. Stop having one-shot headshot snipers.
yeah, honestly,
Maybe, I don't know. They
did
shouldn't have
Black
even
Widow
given
need to be
her
a
a
sniper?
sniper.
Like
No,
lore
she
wise,
didn't.
I don't think this character needs to be a sniper. She's
She
like
could have
a
just
like all weapons person.
punched.
She's not just a sniper.
Yeah, she could have
Like
been
Winter
dagger,
Soldier
punch,
uses
run
sniper
around.
rifles too. He doesn't. He's not a sniper.
They wanted to have their cake and eat it too, but they can't because they wanted to have a sniper, but they didn't want to do the headshot.
Yeah, like
And
he's an assassin. Doesn't mean that she has to be a sniper. Like she uses pistols and shit.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I also think that we're getting a lot of invisible type characters, which haven't been terrible yet. It's not the worst thing in the world. You kind of know where, like, if you're fighting an invisible character, especially like a Psylocke, you kind of know where she went and you can shoot.
Hmm.
Uh, But if we get like a Sombra type character who's just perma invisible, so annoying. Like that was honestly that's what I'm thinking about with the one character that ruins it in Overwatch 2. Just the Sombra character who is gone from being
Hmm.
good and bad over the patches. It's just so annoying at all times. Just a character that runs away and either is too annoying because they're killing you every 5 seconds or not contributing anything to the team. You know, they're just like away
Yeah.
doing their own thing. I really just hope they don't add something like that. I don't know. Like those kind of characters are annoying. I mean, Psylocke already can go invisible and does it a little bit, but it's not as egregious and it's not the end of the world. Um, there's
Hmm.
just there's these tropes of characters that I think are bad and are make like are not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who do you think or
Um.
what do you think is the worst character they could possibly add? Like not like
Ooh,
that doesn't need to be a specific character, but just like what kit is like poison for the
what
game.
kit is poison? I mean, my first thought would have been permanent invisibility. Uh,
Hmm. I
on like
hate
a
permanent
damage
invisibility.
oriented on either a damage or CC oriented character. So like not Invisible Woman, I think it's fine because she does have to heal eventually. She does have to reveal herself.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what else.
I mean, that's a
I don't
terrible
know.
one.
I think they've already added like lots of the no-nos. So like
Like, yeah, like a
it's not really there's
melee
not too
damage.
many other places to go. Like you got permanent flyers, one shots.
It's true.
Um
One shots on Hanzo Arrow, but the thing is, I feel like Hawkeye is like, oh no, he's so good, but he's like so inconsistent. Even if you're consistent, like even if you're good, it's like
yeah.
he's so weird that
Yeah, I
it's
think
fine.
like let's see, there's dash resets on outside of death or outside of kills rather.
Hmm.
There's infinite sprint,
Oh wait, there's like
especially
you
on
have
a
like
tank.
life steal, egregious life
Um
steal if possible,
yeah,
like a
does this game
Reaper
have
type beat.
I feel like this game, I mean technically the game has lifesteal already, like with magic, but it's like it's bonus health. It's not like permanent health, but still. Um
Oh, there's not. I mean, there's a couple of
yeah.
like press shift to like get out of there. Although like Namor is like he flies. Wanda
Yeah.
is just annoying as a character. But I don't think there's like a Reaper like or like a Moira outside of uh Scarlet Witch, but like a Moira dash away like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Repositional. At least you kind of know. I do appreciate that with Scarlet Witch. You know exactly where she'll be when she gets out of invulnerability, and you can kill her. Um,
Yeah.
so they've been doing a good job about that, but it's just like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who will do. I don't know who's gonna be the one, and it'll be funny because it'll stain the legacy of that character. Watch it be like Deadpool or something that just like comes out. It's like, oh look, there's Deadpool, and then it's just the most unfun you'll ever have, and it's Deadpool like twerking on you, and then you'll just be like, I'm just uninstalling the
Yeah, I
game.
mean, if Wolverine wasn't like literally the most popular comic book character ever, he'd probably be pretty tarnished, reputation
Yeah,
wise.
yeah, I would say that. But people, but
I
then
think
again, his
Deadpool might also be like specifically safe just because he's had 3 successful movies. But yeah, I don't know. Like if
but
they, I'm trying to think of somebody that could add that would. God, if they did Cyclops and his kit was like really annoying, I got like the slander would be insane because he's like I think he's got one of the biggest like differences in his mainstream and movie incarnations and his comic ones. Like he's like the main character of the X-Men, but he got sidelined for Wolverine in all the movies.
it'd be kind of cool if do you remember in Smite how Raw? Do you remember Raw, the character Raw?
Yes.
So Raw's alt, at least when I played Smite, was just a beam. So you just like would
Hmm.
just press the button and it would shoot and it would be like a static direction, but anything in it basically like got one shot pretty much.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of cool to have. I mean, I guess it could be like proximity if you're closer or whatever. But if you just took off his thing and just like beamed, although I feel like with this game it would be takes off the thing and then it's just this big like AOE damage beam that you
It's probably
take
going to be some
damage.
like constant beam.
Yeah,
And I don't know,
constant.
like there are some options because he does do some kind of cool stuff. Like he
Well, what if he
I
gets
know in
rooted
like
and then he can just like aim a beam, just
yeah
like a
yeah
turret style
I
beam that
I
just
know
melts everyone?
in the new X-Men show, and I believe in the comics as well, he uses his beams to like move himself, so it's like mobility.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's definitely one of the more uninteresting kits they could add, like in theory. But you know, they've made it work before. Like they made the Thing and Hulk vastly different. That's pretty hard to do. Though
Yeah.
I'm honestly not too crazy about their Hulk design. Like I don't play Hulk to spit radiation at people. Like come on. And like
It's also
I
the
checked.
Bruce Banner makes no sense except
Yeah,
for
the
just
starting as
because
Bruce Banner
Diva.
is also very stupid. So I heard somebody or suggest like, oh, they should have the Human Torch start as Johnny Storm. And you have to flame on. Like, no, why would you want that?
So you
What's the
can have your
point?
bronze to GM only using regular Johnny
Oh my
YouTube
god.
content. But the funny thing about Bruce Banner is, I mean, he exists to be like the diva type character, but you're almost, I think, 98% of the time, once you're out of Hulk, you're gonna die immediately because he can't do
Yeah,
anything for a couple seconds. I've maybe had Bruce Banner escape like like a dozen times
yeah, and even then,
out of
it's like
every
it's
match,
not
and
good.
then he's
Like
dead.
if you get away as Bruce Banner, you might as well have just died.
Yeah, then he's just in
Yeah,
Bruce form, and then he gets killed anyway because he's just shooting, doing nothing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I looked it up to even check. Hulk does not exile people in the comics. He doesn't spit radiation and like stun them. Like he spits radiation at them and it kills them.
So
He
stupid.
literally spits like beams at people sometimes. Sometimes he does
Well,
not do this always. Sometimes he also doesn't make gamma force fields
I
around
just
people. Like
realized.
they have taken some real liberties here.
So we kind of ran out of time on the pod, but we didn't talk about Captain America: Brave New World at all. But I think we can actually, if you have time, we could talk about it if you want on this pod.
Sure. I've covered pretty much all the characters I wanted to cover.
Yeah. Let's just move
Hulk Ult is cool
into
though. I will say that Hulk Ult is very
yeah,
cool. Just yeah,
Big
the
Hulk.
shift and E are just very
He
very
gets
odd.
bigger.
It's not even that they're bad. They're both extremely good. It's just like this isn't the Hulk fantasy. I don't feel like Hulk when I use these abilities.
Yeah, but like they just gave him to the Thing. So the Thing
Yeah.
is my personal Hulk.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of my personal Hulk and bad marketing,
Yeah.
um, let we can spend 5 minutes talking about this movie. I feel like that's as much as I want to talk about the movie, to be
Sure.
honest. So we both saw Captain America's Brave New World, and we've sat with it a couple days. James, you've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
One on a phone rip and one on an
Yep.
actual theater. And I have to say, let me you like it more than I do, and I want to get my initial thoughts out here because I don't have too much
Hmm.
to say about it. But I don't particularly think it was enjoyable. But hear me out, because it was unfortunate because I didn't like any of the Captain America movies that much because I'm not a huge fan of the espionage, like military thriller Marvel
Hmm.
movies. So I was already movies like a Winter Soldier or something like that. I'm already rating lower in my mind because I don't like those ones as much. So
Hmm.
this one I felt was a worst version of that, which is very unfortunate. Although I will say 1,000 times better than Quantumania or any of those movies. But it
Hmm.
just felt mid to me.
Hmm.
So that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah. So for me, it's weird because I think it had some really good pieces to it. I just I guess I kind of got some disagreements on. I think it should have been half an hour longer because I think the plot needed to be a little fleshed out more, and the villain definitely needed more fleshing out. Uh, Not once did they call the leader, and I. This is like a thing the MCU will do, and I don't understand why. He had a perfect moment to say it. Somebody literally asked, "Who are you?" And all he had to do was say, "I'm the leader," and he just did it.
No, he's like, I'm the hero,
Like, dog,
obviously.
please just
Cringe.
say it.
Oh,
And
I guess we should mark this
oh
as a
god.
spoiler based conversation, but I mean, that's not really that.
I mean,
Whatever. There's.
I am trying to like dance around the spoilers,
We're going to dance
for the
around
most
it,
part,
but there
but
could be spoilers in this
yeah.
for the movie.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think there just need to be a little bit more to like tie some things together, like some of the themes and things like that. I think the characters were generally good. I really liked Harrison Ford. I think the finale they had like two finales. Like the first finale I think was great. Like I think most people agreed that was very good. And then the second finale was like it was eh. It felt like it was just there because they had to.
So I I liked Harrison Ford, I guess. I thought he would be worse. Is what I went into the movie thinking he would be worse because notably Harrison Ford seems to hate acting in his old age. So I was like, okay, so he's here for the paycheck because he hates this. But he seemed to like try in a way.
He actually seemed to care. I think part of the issue was that he is a recast of a character who, first of all, was like only in like two movies, one
Yeah,
of which was 16 years ago.
why are they
And
taking lore from these movies that are 16 years ago?
and I also think like there's this weird thing where we have callbacks to things the character has done, and that is supposed to make us like that's supposed to help us follow the arc and almost make us care. But the thing is, that wasn't Harrison Ford, so it's a little like awkward. Like it's not even his
Eh,
fault. It's not even anybody's fault because the original actor passed, unfortunately. But like, it's just a little odd, especially since he
well,
hasn't like interacted with these characters on screen before, and you can kind of feel it. They even like make a little joke where it's like, "Oh, I'm not used to the new look," and they said like, "Yeah, I either lose the mustache or I lose the election." It's like, yeah, It's a little bit more than a mustache, but yeah, little nudge and wink.
So I'm also not getting. This movie felt. I've been out of the loop on the new wave of Marvel movies and TV shows because they've been
Hmm.
bad. And I felt like so many times throughout the movie, there's characters where I'm like, am I supposed to know that character, or is this a new character? Is this someone from a show? Is this someone from a
Yeah,
movie? And I
yeah.
didn't know. And I felt like I was out of the loop for the first time in a Marvel movie in a while because I was
Yeah,
following them, you know?
funnily enough, Kojima had the same experience. He,
Based Kojima.
if you haven't seen the Kojima tweet about the movie, it's actually very funny. He actually talked about it. He didn't just say one sentence. He liked it enough to talk about it. He was just very confused.
Yeah, like
Because like
who
from what
are
I
these
understand, the
people?
last thing he did was like watch Endgame. So he was like
That's
very
what
lost.
me and Kojima are the same in the same boat, basically.
I also highly doubt he remembers anything from the Incredible Hulk. Which, by the way, this is effectively an Incredible Hulk sequel, like
Yeah, which
character
was
wise.
like
Like,
barely in the MCU.
yeah, so I think I have a little theory. So, Tim Blake Nelson, right? When they
Hmm.
made the Incredible Hulk and they teased him becoming the leader at the end, he signed on for 2 more movies,
Yes.
assuming that these 2 movies would be the Incredible Hulk 2 and 3, and they just never happened. So now they probably like it's been 16 years at that point. They're like, well, we got to use him,
It,
and we've kind of got set up like we want to make Thunderbolt Ross president, and he's like this guy exists, and they shared a movie. Let's go with that.
it is really funny that the explanation is this character is like, I've been locked in a basement for 16 years. It's like, what? Okay. Um,
Yeah,
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't realize that was a character until reading after. I didn't realize that was a character from a movie from 16 years ago.
yeah.
I didn't like I didn't know some of the lore. Uh I thought okay, so just generally, I thought Anthony Mackie, whilst I think did a good job with the bad script and bad writing and general bad dialogue, and I really like him, and I really like him as Captain America, and I would be very excited to see him in an ensemble of other people and how he talks and hangs out with people. But it's like he's going around giving speeches in this whole movie, and then he has like all these random sidekicks who are kind of like it's a movie about it's like a movie, and I guess the whole point of the movie is that he's kind of like a C tier hero becoming an A tier hero, and like he's trying to like come to terms with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is a weird movie of sidekicks who have their own sidekicks. And then there's also is his name Isaiah, the other Captain
Isaiah Bradley.
America, who's from the TV show and comics,
Yeah.
right?
By the way, for anybody watching that hasn't seen it, you need to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier before
Yeah,
this.
I
Like,
didn't know. I mean,
absolutely 100. It is not like debatable. You will not
I
understand what's going on.
I knew who that character was through comics, like from like the osmosis of like reading about comics and about the history of Captain America's. I watched a
Hmm.
video. I don't know if it was Comic Drake or something. It was a video about the history of Captain America characters. Wouldn't have known who that character was if I didn't do that. Didn't
Hmm.
watch Winter Soldier show. Uh, I thought the dialogue was pretty much all cringe, except when spoiler Winter Soldier Man shows up and has like a fun moment with Captain America, and I think they had a lot of fun dialogue, and
Okay.
they
Yeah.
were
You know what's actually funny about that? So I thought,
what?
for the most part, I thought the dialogue was okay. I think that was one of the things where I thought it was genuinely cringe
Well,
because
it was
they
obviously a fan service
yeah, it
cameo.
was a fan service, but they did the thing where it's like they were all serious and they were like, and then they like kind of joked it off.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was
Yeah,
like.
it was like the
Well,
the
the problem
MCU
is,
classic.
well, everything else in the movie, I kind of like when the MCU movies are a little bit more comedic in tone. But obviously not to the scale of Love and
Yeah,
Thunder. Uh,
yeah, like
but like
I
I
like
don't know.
I like comedic tone, but I think that when they use it at inappropriate times, it hurts the movie a lot. Like you can have a comedic tone and also let like scenes have weight
Hmm.
like that need to.
Well,
Like even Love and Thunder, they kind of did it like with I guess spoiler if you haven't seen Love and Thunder, but when like Thor's ex-girlfriend said she had cancer or something, they didn't just like joke it off from what I remember. Like
yeah, and then
she actually
then
had cancer.
kids, and then got superpowers, and don't worry about it. There's
Yeah.
weird screaming goats. but like I thought it was cool seeing the new Captain America flying around with the wings doing stuff. But then the actual like plot of the entire movie. Also, it was weird that there was Sidewinder as a character who was like a villain
Yeah,
who didn't
they
really go anywhere.
they didn't. Giancarlo Esposito got kind of disrespected.
He played the same. He was, oh my god, he's playing a cold, calculating guy with gun.
Who
He's
speaks
playing
Spanish?
everything. Yeah.
It has to be. There has to be somewhere in every single one of his contracts that he has to speak Spanish. Like there's no way he just happens to get these
Well,
roles.
he's just getting typecast, you know,
Yeah.
and get that paycheck. He's a great actor, but he's getting typecast in a lot of these roles.
Have you ever seen those videos of people like finding him on the street? Like he is a very like expressive person. They have to stop doing this. To him.
No one keep doing it.
He's
Get
actually a
that
very
paycheck.
funny, like very expressive guy, and they keep making him like the super serious like Spanish dude, or
Well,
rather
he did. I mean,
Hispanic dude.
he's known for his role in Breaking Bad, so everyone's we'll do that again. But
Yeah.
yeah, he exists in the movie, and then that's like whatever. There's a small woman who is like the
Oh.
head of the security,
Oh
and I
yeah. I
guess
didn't like her
she's
at all.
from. I didn't watch Black Widow the movie, but she is
She's
from like
not.
the
She's a
Widow.
fully new character.
Never. Well, they said she's from Widow, ex Widow. Is that the Widow like spy
Well,
school?
yes, but she just wasn't in the Black Widow movie. She
Well,
just
I know,
kind of
but she's
exists.
from some sort of Widow spy academy, whatever. I don't know what
Yeah.
that movie is about. And she kind of talks like Black Widow does, and looks has the same kind of haircut. She seems to weigh 50 pounds, and she's like 5'3". And then I think at one point she like throws a guard who is like a 400-pound guy in armor who's like 6 foot tall. She like throws him across a room, which is
Hmm.
insane. But I guess
Yeah.
maybe she has powers. But
Um.
also, a lot
So
of people are
in the
throwing people.
comics, I'm pretty sure the Black Widows have like a version of the Super Soldier Serum, but they just don't
Okay, that makes
do that.
sense.
They just don't do that in the MCU for some reason. Like it's never like
Oh,
it's not a thing.
a lot of human characters in the MCU are throwing people across rooms,
Yeah, I mean
and like,
like the thing is the Super Soldier Serum is like used to explain shit in the comics, but they just kind of don't give it to people in the MCU, and I don't know why. Like they want us to
and
be convinced that like Captain America is the only guy ever who
so
took the serum or something.
notably, and his name is Sam, right? The Captain America, the new
Yeah,
Captain America.
yeah, Sam Wilson.
Notably, he did not take the super serum,
Yeah.
which honestly, there kind of is no reason not to. There's like no downside
Okay, there is a downside. You
in
have
the
to watch
movies,
Falcon and the
though.
Winter Soldier. You have to watch
Okay,
Falcon
never
and the Winter
mind.
Soldier. They
There's
are
there,
very explicit about the downside.
Okay, well, oh, I guess yes, but whatever. There's no downside according to me because I didn't watch 15 TV
Yeah.
shows, and
It
so he
makes him relatable.
falls.
He's just a
Yeah,
guy. He could be
but
you.
the problem is the beginning of the movie he drops from like the top of the sky and does a hero landing with like kind of no. He just like thumps on his knees and he's just like, oh god, but whatever. He also gets
Vibranium.
his ribs. He gets his ribs broken a bunch, and whatever. Who cares? That's superhero stuff. No nitpicking.
Yeah.
But he okay. Let's just jump ahead because like honestly, kind of nothing happens in the entire movie. And you know why I'm upset a little bit? Because it's a mystery movie, but the mystery is on the poster and the trailer. It's Red
Yeah,
Hulk. It's
the
Harrison
advertisement
Ford,
did
Red
not do it
Hulk.
any favors. I honestly think my rating of the movie would have gone up a whole 1 point if they just didn't advertise Red Hulk.
Oh, I would have liked that too. No, I would have been like, oh my god, that's a
It
crazy
is
twist.
insane that they did that instead of advertising the actual villain.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm waiting for Red Hulk the whole movie. And then it's like, okay, it's this big mystery about who's Red Hulk and what's going to happen. It's like, well, no,
Yeah.
it's literally Harrison Ford. I guess the motive is different than I thought it was going to be. But no, it's Harrison Ford. And
Yeah, I don't know.
then they have a fight. I honestly think the fight was fun to watch, even though it was stupid.
I think
But
it was fun, but like I think like choreography and visual wise was probably one of the low points of the movie. Like I think it was one of those things like it kind of had to happen, so they did it.
mhm.
I think like it kind of went against the overall theme of the movie.
Mhm.
Like if at the end of Winter Soldier, if Captain America just fought Hulk, like it would feel very off. Like it would feel extremely off.
well,
It's kind
you
of
know
like that.
what's also really bad is that like no one can beat Hulk. And in the MCU, they always beat him for some MacGuffin.
Yeah,
But like a
no
Hulk
one can
type
beat Hulk
character,
unless the plot determines that they
and
do, and the plot does that a
and
lot.
Sam's just a guy, and he has vibranium and stuff, but he's just a guy, and he can't. There's no way he would win that fight and he didn't really. But
Yeah,
they do
I
the
think that there were
cliche.
some moments that were not very believable that he didn't instantly die the way he was like
Oh yeah, he got
getting swung
launched.
at. But
It didn't get his ribs broken like at all. He landed on his
well,
like
I guess to
stomach
be fair, he did break a lot of things. Like he was in like a cast and stuff at the end. But like
in the
I think
fight though.
there was one specific moment where I'm like he basically like held back Red Hulk for like a second, and I'm like that just can't
Mhm.
that's not a thing.
I will say Red Hulk just started existing like 10 minutes ago, so there's like I feel like there's a he's still learning his body, so he could get the upper hand on him, which he did. But here's the thing. Like you can't have him obviously you can't have him win, which they didn't. But they take him so Sam takes him to like the cherry blossom field where he would take his adult daughter, I guess, to all the time. I guess when she was younger, his estranged daughter, and they have a moment where you're like, "Oh, is this gonna knock him out of it?" And then it doesn't, and they fight, and he makes a joke like, "I thought that would work." But then the resolution of the fight is that works, but they had to have the fight first. So they get to have their cake and eat it too, where it's like they did the cliche, made a joke about it, but then the cliche is what saves him. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
But how
I
else would you
also
end
like
it? Like you can't kill him.
yeah. I guess also for like comic readers, Red Hulk isn't meant to be like just another Hulk, but they kind of just made him another Hulk. It was a little odd.
Yeah. He looks a lot like Hulk, which is weird. They could have made him more Harrison Fordy and made him or like they gave the leader a very different design. It could have been it's kind of the Baby Yoda situation, I think, where he's marketable as Red Hulk. You know, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Red Hulk." It's not like they're not naming him as the character. It's not like no one's
Yeah.
gonna say Grogu. It's like, "Oh, look, it's Baby Yoda." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a marketability thing, which they went all the marketing is Red Hulk. You know, what a weird.
I
I
don't know.
mean, I get it.
I think they could have marketed around like the actual villain and Anthony Mackie more, honestly.
Yeah, just could have been. Well,
I don't think they needed Red Hulk for the marketing.
it's just all I knew about this movie was just seeing him. He's like, oh, he's gonna fight Red Hulk, and that's what I thought. It was like this is gonna be a dumb movie where he eventually fights the Red Hulk or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah,
But
I
there
mean, I
was
don't
more
know.
stuff.
It's weird because you can't do the whole thing with like you can't do like a mystery quote unquote with Hulk where it's like some movies will have like the villain shows up sometimes but like they get away like Red Hulk doesn't like just get away like that's like that just wouldn't happen. You know what I mean?
I
Like
have a
a Hulk isn't
question.
sneaking away from you narrowly.
I think I missed this, and maybe this is explained. But so they brainwashed all the people. Did Isaiah have a gun on him, or did he take a guard's gun?
He
Because he
took a
just
guard's
started
gun.
shooting.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I
he
didn't
took the
remember if I
guard's
saw
gun.
that. They really kind of brushed over brainwashing as a mechanic. Uh, I guess it had happened before they mentioned, but they kind of brushed over that crazy implication there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's existed in the MCU already. Like it's not. I think the one thing I will say about it that was kind of weird is so everybody knows about the Winter Soldier case where like they use trigger words to like brainwash him and
Yeah,
make him kill people. But when the implication that somebody was doing something that was not willingly like in control of their body was brought up, they kind of like brushed it off and said like, no, they're guilty. And it's like, no, we know people can be brainwashed like in the universe. And then when it's
yeah,
brought up, everybody
exactly.
believes it pretty quickly, and it's like, well, no,
And he just
you were so adamant
gets out
about
of jail
brainwashing not
immediately.
being a possibility. Um, one thing I do like though, the song that was used for the brainwashing, it's a song called "Mr. Blue,"
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a callback to the Incredible Hulk because when the leader was communicating with Bruce Banner while he was on the run, Bruce Banner's name was Mr. Green in their text,
Mm.
and the leader was Mr. Blue.
That's good. That's clever.
Yeah,
That's a
it
good
was a
reference for
cool
people from
callback.
16 years ago.
Yeah,
It is a good reference, but it is also wild. It's just the problem with these MCU movies too is they're just throwing out like Sokovia Accords and stuff like that, and it's like I kind of remember that. Obviously, it's from
yeah, that
the
was from
Avengers
Civil
stuff,
War.
Civil War, but it's like we're just throwing out stuff, and it's like I don't just. And I think what they are actually doing is I think they will do a like weird soft universe reboot. Uh,
Probably.
I mean, also let's talk about one of the last things to talk about. I guess is the post credit scene, which is the most nothing burger thing ever.
Yeah, it's just the classic like there are other universes out there
Yeah, you're
thing.
gonna fight versions of
Apparently,
yourself eventually, I guess.
I think the director said it was meant to tease the Illuminati, which is like
Yeah,
an like if you've watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, you like know of it, but it's like an actual version that's going to be relevant for the multiverse and not just one off and then they get murdered.
I'm wondering if
Um,
that's gonna tie into the new Fantastic Four movie. Uh, with the trailers we've been seeing with that. Also, I like to point out that the giant celestial mass, which is basically just like Galactus or something of that, like a celestial or something, whoever that may be,
it
was
was
in
a
this
celestial.
movie as a
Yeah.
big mystery, and then in the trailer for Fantastic Four.
Well, no. The giant celestial is completely different. That was from Eternals. It was from the ending of Eternals.
I know, but okay, and I know that it looks like Fantastic Four is like in an alternate universe because it's like
It is, yeah.
retrofuturism, but
Well,
there
it's in
is
an
a
alternate
celestial
universe
there.
in the '60s.
Yeah, there
Well,
is a
that's not a
celestial in
celestial.
it.
It's Galactus.
Is it just well? Isn't Galactus a celestial?
I'm not sure.
They got the same hat. That's all I'm saying. And as a viewer, that's the same to me. I'm not. Well, I'll watch this. I'll watch the Galactus TV show that they'll come out with. I think that's
Um,
correct.
and I'm checking. Galactus is not a celestial, apparently.
Never mind. But why do they have the same kind
He's
of
considered
hats?
a celestial level being, but he is not a
Whatever.
celestial.
I don't know. Like the Fantastic Four movie looks fun. I want to see that. That looks fun.
Yeah, that
I,
one should
I
be. That one should be good. It looks like they have. It looks like they have an actual director who they let do their job, which is very
yeah.
rare in the MCU.
I think my overall thing was like I was never going to really like this just because again I didn't like this style of MCU movie anyway, but it wasn't like the worst thing ever, and it wasn't like I sat through it and didn't want to die like Quantumania and some of the other ones. Yeah, it was fine. Oh man, I didn't get my skin for the game though because we didn't go to Regal Cinema.
Yeah, you had to go for Regal. I just bought it. It's only like $6.
Big
and
sad.
I had like extra coins.
All right, James. I think that was a podcast.
Yeah.
We went a little over, but it was good. We got to talk about a film. I've been
Yeah.
Matt, aka Matt Fondude. You can find me streaming on my new stream segment. I've been trying to stream consistently on Tech Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on
Wow.
Twitch, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm streaming games. So it means tomorrow, if you're listening to this, if I upload it right after the podcast, I will be streaming at 6 p.m. So catch me there. And James, who are you?
I've been James, aka Afro4E. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitch. Yeah.
All right. That was a pod. I'll see you guys.